Do you need a hand? Okay, I'm very sorry. I contacted coppertist.wu. I've reviewed a number of their products. It's a company in China. They make very interesting jewelry, and they make some accessories, including pen stands. I'm just looking there, sorry, because I have one there. They also make interesting objects, and I just say objects because I don't really know how to describe them. They're kind of gadgets, they're sort of fidget toys, they do stuff, but it's made metal and it's often handmade, and there's a lot of detail. Anyway, I'm playing with it as I'm talking here. They made these little sort of cyborg hands with all the fingers move and all that. I'll show you that in just a second, which you can use to show how people feel about my videos. I just wanted one because I had the feeling this would be a popular review, because I've seen these online. They seem to get very positive responses. People seem to like coppertist.wu stuff. It's not inexpensive, but again, it's a lot of handwork. I'll talk about that. And so they sent me two, a left hand and a right hand. They started off with the one, and then they added a second, so the other hand, left and right, to it. I think it's a really cool product. It's absolutely one of those things, if there is no function, you don't need this product, sorry, but I bet you want one. So I'm going to cover the parts of these products in the video. Obviously no writing sample here. I will tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and that's pretty much it. A very kind thank you to coppertist.wu for sending me these. I really appreciate it. I have had a disturbing amount of fun with these already. It's a strange product that, again, you don't need, but that you really want. So let's have a look and see what these are about. Okay, here we go with this coppertist.wu mechanical hand pendant. Let's first look at the box. Very simple, grüne Punkt, so you can recycle this. I like it a lot. You have this very simple non-lined box, and then it does say sparked by wildlife. A lot of their pen stands, I reviewed this one recently, for example, it's a bunny, are inspired by nature, which I think is quite cool. So hence the sparked by wildlife, but there's bunnies and crabs and scarab, what do you call it, dung beetles, all that sort of stuff. And then there's also this little bag which you can store your little hand in. Here we have the hands. I have a left hand and I have a right hand. I'm just going to put them in the frame so you have something to look at as I talk about the product. So to me it's quite fascinating. The joints are made by hand, and these little hands are also assembled by hand. I don't know if it would be possible for me to put the word hand into that sentence more than I did. I'm sorry, but assembled by hand, largely made by hand. It takes over 6 hours to make one, coppertist.wu said online, which is a lot of time. There are different finishes available. This is the standard finish. That's kind of where the pricing starts to. $112, that is Canadian, not US. Which is not cheap for a small object like this, but then given the amount of work that goes into it, I also have to admit that I find that a very understandable price, and I think a justifiable price, to be honest. Okay, if you don't like this finish but you want something more exclusive, you can get different versions including gold and silver, and my favorite version, the solid 24 karat gold version, which costs $12,068 Canadian. But then you do have a solid 24 karat tiny little hand. So if you have an awful lot of money to spend, boom, you can do that. Okay, so let's have a look at these products because there's quite a lot to look at. I'm just going to put this one on top there, and then we'll fiddle with this one, and I'll try to zoom in a bit so you can actually see what I'm doing, as there is quite a lot to see. At the bottom we have this ring. You can put this on a split ring or a little, it will be a small carabiner. I've even seen one person online who is wearing one of these around her neck. It is a pendant, so you can do with it what you will. This bit looks like it, but it's not actually articulated. The rest of it is. And some features I think are really quite cool. For example, you fiddle with it a little bit. This part opens up, and I don't know why I was trying to do that with this thing. So does this part, and they kind of have this cybernetic mechanism on the inside, which you can see, which I think is really quite cool. Note that this middle round thing is a magnet. I can feel it pulling on my pointy device quite well, and likewise there. You see that? That's the magnet. Snap shut, and this snap shut, but of course, you have to do it the other way around. Sorry. So this closes up, that snaps shut, and then you're there. I'll try to show you the inside and the outside. There's a lot of detail on it, and again, I think that also explains that price. These joints, as I said, handmade, hand assembled. If they get loose on the website, you can just take needle nose pliers and apply some pressure to these points, and that tightens the joints again. So we've got that. I think it's very neat. Like, you have all this articulation. These fingers have 3 points. Sorry, the thumb is in the way a little bit. 3 points of articulation each, right? There's the 1, 2, and then there's one at the bottom there. So it really closes up quite nicely. The thumb has 2 points of articulation. There is one down there and there's one there. Yeah, I just think it looks cool. This thumb is a little stiff, by the way. On the other hand, I think it opened up a little bit more easily, or moved a little bit more easily, but that's probably because I've been playing with that one a bit more. Any possible position imaginable with the fingers, which I think is really quite neat. And in some cases, it's just to give you an idea of the level of realism of the products. Imagine that you had a tiny Sacros K11 disintegrator pistol. Your little hand will grab it very easily and very realistically, and I think it's incredibly cool. Completely useless, but incredibly cool. And it shows that this is not coming out, right? It actually grips that thing well. And therefore, I can see how people are kind of fiddling with this in model kits and that sort of stuff. I think it's very neat. I think coppertist.wu has created something really neat here. And I've said this a number of times, but I'll repeat it. It's not something you need, but it is kind of something you want, and the ability to kind of fiddle with this and use it that way, I think is really cool. So having said all this, why don't we have a look at some likes and dislikes? What do I like and what do I not like about this coppertist.wu? What are they called again? Mechanical hand pendant. It's kind of a useless product when you think about it. It's not a pen stand. It's not jewelry that you wear. It's just something you there's a pendant you put. Maybe people put this around their neck, or you put it on a bag or something. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it's kind of one of those things you purchase and you fiddle with and play with, but I mean it doesn't serve a clear purpose. But you want it, and you want it quite badly, and I know you do. I have had a little too much fun fiddling around with this and playing with it. It's just cool. So things I like about it, things I don't like about it. You have to admire the amount of work that goes into it. I read on their website, I believe, that the joints are handmade, hand put together. It takes over 6 hours to make one of these. And then the basic version, this version is 112 Canadian dollars. The website came out Canadian. I'm sorry, you can check it out and get your own currency. So 6 hours of work, I think then 112 bucks, again Canadian, is quite fair. I really think so. It's a lot of fun to fiddle with, and people have found, I was doing some research online into this. People say that research, what they really mean is I looked up some stuff online. It's not really research. But anyway, people use these in all kinds of creative ways. They build Gundam model kits, and then they integrate this so you have this hand and it's fully articulated, so that's kind of cool. So people do cool projects with it, and I'm not that creative, so I nearly dropped it, but it's fine. I don't have that creativity, but it's just fun to fiddle with, and I can absolutely see this as a fidget toy. It works because it's kind of distracting, and it's kind of nice. So I do like that. I also read, in case you want to know, the joints actually will get a little loose over time. That's natural. But you can just take a pair of needle nose pliers, cover them up a bit, and squeeze the joints, and then they tighten up again. You know, you kind of want this, I feel. It's just one of those things. It's just really cool. And it's not cheap, but again, for so much handwork, I think you get quite a good deal. Anything I don't like about it, it doesn't serve a function. It simply does not serve a function, but it's cool to have. And that's it. So I send coppertist.wu a very kind thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you sending me the left and right hands of these. I was really only expecting one, but that's really kind of you. Let me know what you think. And what would you use it for? How do you see yourself using this kind of product? Because I think it's really neat, and I think that you want one, but why? Why is this a cool product? Because I can't quite put my finger on it. This finger. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.